Bilateral symmetry is when two sides are the mirror image of each other and could be folded on top of each other along a center line, like this. You can also have quadrilateral symmetry, where top and bottom and side to side, four quadrants, all are symmetrical with the other one and could be folded on top of each other as the mirror image, like this. Now for our project, we're going to start off with a large sheet of construction paper and then a half sheet. The half sheet will cover up one half of the large one, like this. This is actually bilaterally symmetrical. Each half is the same as the other side in a mirror image. They just change colors. What we're going to do is on the one half sheet of paper, we're going to cut out shapes to make a design. Then we'll take these shapes and we'll rotate them, like you would in a mirror, to being just the opposite on the other side. Here again, it's bilaterally symmetrical, and we also happen to have field reversal. Now before we start cutting and flipping, we need to plan out the project. And here's how we're going to do that. First, I'm going to give you a sheet of paper that looks like this, which has some hints and directions and considerations down the side that you should read. It has a box on it. Now this box represents the size of the half sheet of paper which you're going to cut shapes out of to flip over. Now you can flip them this way or this way. It does not make any difference. It depends on how your design goes and what works best for you. Here's an example of a design that has already been worked out. It is very helpful if you mark those shapes. They're going to be rotated over. This way you can keep track of what goes over, what stays, what goes over. Let's look at some of the shapes there are here. First of all, the letter A is here. Now A is a symmetrical letter, so if you make half of it, it flips over and becomes a hole. Here's an arrow, here's a circle, box, and there's some other shapes. Notice none of the shapes that I have marked with an X touch each other. Because if they touched each other and you flipped them both over, they'd become one piece and you couldn't see the A. So you need to have a gap between those shapes that you're going to cut out and rotate over to make the bilateral symmetry. The next step, once you have your design laid out, is to transfer it onto the half sheet of paper. Now you're going to try and not have any marks on the half sheet of paper because that'll glom up your design. One way to do it is this. Take your book, which is soft, place down the paper, and place this right on top of it exactly. If you need to put a little masking tape on the back to hold it in place, that's fine. Then, using your pencil or a ballpoint pen, trace along the line firmly. What that should do is leave a little dent in your construction paper. Now if you need to, redraw, but do it extremely lightly so that the pencil marks don't mess up your final design as far as craftsmanship. Here you have my design laid out and set on top of the orange sheet of paper. I've done my lines dark so that you can see them on the TV. Now I'm ready to proceed and cut out my shapes. This is a good time to give you another little helpful hint. When you design your shapes and you lay them out on your half sheet, it's helpful if you somehow have them touch the edge of the paper. This makes it much easier to take a pair of scissors and cut them out, and therefore gives you better craftsmanship when you're going to rotate over your pieces and makes them neater. And again, here's the final design. Before we start in designing ours, let's look at some different types of designs you can come up with. This first one is a geometric design with radial wiggly lines coming out in the negative area. In this one, organic type curves are used. Here's one based on symmetrical objects, traditional schoolhouse and a tree. Sports or activities are always popular. Now we'll look at some student work. This is a good Chicago bull, but notice all the negative space. Something could have been done with it with an attention-getting device to make it a little more interesting. Notice how this symmetrical face used just radial related shapes to fill in the space and draw more attention to the face.